Hey everybody, Father Bob, welcome to the South Campus Show with my dog Arlo, who's always hungry, and Executive Director of Launch Ministry, Corey Magstadt. Corey, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like you need a theme song. Don't you need a little, like some entry music or something to make the show like really pop?
We actually do have a little jingle that we play on the airwaves, right Liz? But hey, Corey, we go way back. I always remember the first Loving Pastors meeting.
Yeah.
And you were there in the early days. You were with a small congregation. I get that correctly?
Yeah. I was the part of the founding team at the River Church in Chaska.
Okay. And I remember you had guitar out and.
Yeah, that's right.
At the song
Camp,
praise.
Camp Tanaduna.
Yep.
Yeah, that was such a great time. I think that I look back on that fondly as well. I think it really set the stage for this community of pastors to kind of move beyond like we just do our own things in our own congregations, and to actually see each other as brothers and sisters in Christ, and be able to worship together and pray together, and then seeing loving flow out of that and do this good work in the community together has been great.
As some of my brother priests would say, was that a kumbaya moment, Father Bob? I'd say it was.
Right.
And
really
no
was.
apologies. It was great, and it's kind of like something we look back and go, I was there at that meeting. It was like the first time, and it kind of went from there. A lot of things have developed since, and of course your call with Launch Ministry for the homeless youth, and there's homeless youth. That's the
right.
And you developed a ministry around that. How did you get started with this?
Yeah, so kind of a crazy story. So really began. So I had been at the River Church for about 8 years and was kind of feeling tugged that maybe my time there was done, and I didn't really know. I didn't have a backup plan, but I let the church know that it's probably time for me to move on, and I gave them kind of a 6-month window to start thinking through, because since I was the founding pastor, they'd never had to do a pastor search before, and in that kind of context, it's kind of falls on the church and the elders to really find the pastor. It's not nobody's appointing somebody to come in next, so there was some work that they were going to have to do, a little different than your setting. So then in that 6-month period, I was just kind of continuing to do some of the work, and one of the things that happened in that 6 months was we had some of our young people that had aged out of our youth programs that were kind of struggling as young adults, and had come to us and said, hey, it would be great. I know we can't come to youth group anymore because we're too old, but wouldn't it be great if there was something for us, like for 19, 20, 21-year-olds? Yeah. And I said, that's a great idea. Let's just do like a Bible study or a gathering or some kind of something. And let's get people together and just see what would be something that would be useful or helpful to you in this time of life. And so we scheduled something for a couple weeks out, and that next week, Andrew Peterson, I don't know if you remember him, he was at the time the youth pastor at Valley Free Church in Chaska. He called me up and said, hey, we're seeing this kind of young adults that are struggling in our church, they're former youth group kids, and love to talk about maybe we can do some kind of a young adult ministry. And I said, great, we've been already talking about that. And so we decided, let's do it together, and so we got together, and he sent out the word to his kids, I sent the word out to mine, and we had maybe a gathering of 20 or so young people that came to that space. We just got in a big circle and said, what's going on? And why are you here? How's life? Why would you respond to this summons? And we were blown away by the needs that arrived in that conversation. So we had the first person said, hi, I'll change their names for the video, but hi, my name's John. I'm 24 years old, and my mom died yesterday, and I'm just a mess. I don't know what I'm going to do. So we, talked to him for a bit, and then we went to the next person. Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm 19. I found out this week that I'm pregnant, and my boyfriend's a meth addict, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And next person, hi, I'm the meth addict boyfriend. I'm 24. I haven't been sober for like more than a week since I was 13, and now I'm homeless and I've got this kid on the way, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And so we just were like, whoa, this is not just like kumbaya moments where I just going to get together and sing songs and read the Bible or whatever. We're going to...
That presupposes some stability.
Right, exactly. We're going to talk about real stuff. And so I went home from that meeting and talked to my wife and said, hey, I think this is what we should do next. And so my wife, who's always, at the time we had 2 little kids, and she was staying at home, and she was like, so that means I get to go back to work. And so we always joke that she works to support my nonprofit startup habits. And so she went back to work and actually helped us to start Cologne Academy, if you're familiar with the charter school out there. So that was what she went on to do, and was working there for a while I was getting launch started. Yeah, so from there it was just like, the next few years was kind of figuring out what is it that these youth are actually struggling with, what do they need, and really from our core we said we're a mentoring program because they're all coming from different places, they all have different needs, and so we need to meet them where they're at and help them figure out how to find the support and the answers that they need, and we've maintained that. So even though I think we're primarily known at this point as being like a homeless emergency response program, really at our heart, across all of our programs today, we still have the same kind of mentoring focus and the same kind of mentoring approach that we started with. And last year we had over 1,800 mentoring meetings with youth in crisis, and that number is just continuing to climb.
Beautiful. The whole idea, of course, mentoring, we could talk about that, but I know you and I have had mentors in our lives that
absolutely
shaped us, given us a vision to help us do what we do today, and we all need that. And the other thought is, in your 20s, you step into the, I'll call it, big bad adult world, and it's fast paced, and it's kind of sobering and daunting, and particularly if there's other issues that are making it even more challenging.
Absolutely.
You're there filling the gap. Wonderful.
Well, and I think about that. Yeah. One of the things that I often share when I'm speaking with groups is I ask people to think back to when you were 18 or 19, and who were the people that walked beside you, that helped you navigate those complicated times. And then imagine what would your life have been like if you didn't have those people. Like how would you have figured out how to pay for college, how to find a job, how to get your driver's license, how to sign your first lease on an apartment, like all of these, like how to get a loan for a car, all of these like really complicated adult things that a lot of us just kind of take for granted. If you don't have parents or other supportive adults in your life, those are really, really hard to access.
Wow. Beautiful. And I can see you have a passion for what you do, Corey. I love that. There's an attraction about that because you see the need, the vision, and you being led by the Spirit to respond, and that's very compelling. Thank you for that work. What about current projects going on?
Yeah, so this next year is shaping up to be a big one. We've got a lot of stuff in the works. So many people have been asking about this apartment project that's been in the news for the last few years that we've been working on for a long time. We are still set to break ground this fall, which we're very excited about. And so a little over a year from now, we will hopefully have a 19-unit apartment building opening for youth to move into in Chaska, which will be fantastic. So that'll essentially double the amount of permanent supportive housing that we have in our organization right now. So that's one big one.
Yeah, exciting.
And then we're also working, and this one is kind of some fundraising dependent. We still need to raise some funds to make this happen, but we've been invited to open a coffee shop in Cologne, in a new construction building that's right next to Cologne Academy, that we would serve as a job skills training program for youth who have started to find some housing stability but now need support in figuring out how to enter the workplace effectively and need to learn some hard skills and some soft skills and do that in a supportive space where they're not going to get fired for some of the mistakes that they're inevitably going to make, but they can be eased into that. And so that was one of the things that we did request some funding from the county for, and I appreciate your advocacy on helping to talk to the county commissioners about that. So, so depending on some funding asks, we're hoping to open that early next year. And then we also have a big outreach program that we're working on, so that's also kind of funding dependent. So, but yeah, it's poised to give us everything we do is really trying to look at how do we navigate this whole like start to finish continuum of youth are in crisis. We want to find a crisis response. We want to move you to housing stability, and now we want to move you out of stability to be able to transition to complete independence. And so we're hoping to have that kind of full gamut of programming. And so the couple things we're working on are that tail end of let's really work on that final stability piece, and then a little bit earlier than that, we're hoping to be able to do some outreach to make sure that we're able to find the youth that are in need of those services and kind of get them plugged in, maybe for sometimes even before they're in super crisis mode, so that we can maybe dump or maybe like curtail some of the trauma that they experience while they're experiencing homelessness.
Well, I love the progression, and I'm always struck with housing. Such a need. If you get that, then you move on to the next step for independence and so on. But it's really an empowerment model, and I can see this as being a model for other communities, who have the same issues.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I know you're excited about the LlamaRama deal. What?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. That's not a song. We were saying,
No,
is that
no.
a song? No, it's a different thing.
let me talk about two other things I'm excited about,
Okay.
and then I'll talk about LlamaRama because I'm very excited about that as well.
Yeah.
So two other pieces. So one thing that over the last 3 or 4 years that we've really put a lot of energy into is trying to ensure that every youth really has fair access to our services, regardless of their race, their background, kind of whatever they're coming from. And I think 4 or 5 years ago, we were finding that we were seeing about maybe 10% of the youth that we were serving were youth of color, and about 90% youth that were white. And that demographic number is off from what we should be seeing based on who is actually experiencing homelessness. So we've done a lot of work organizationally, changing systems and structures, hiring a more diverse staff, a more diverse board, like really a lot of very intentional work. And we're really thrilled to see some of that start to pay off. We're now seeing about 70% youth of color accessing our services, and really a much safer space for our staff and for our board members and people who are around. So that to me is something we're really, really proud of, because it's taken a lot of effort and pain and hard work. And then the second thing I'm really proud of is, and excited about, just at our staff meeting today, I was looking around the room, and 3 of our current staff are current or former participants in our program. And so again, when we talk about mentoring, it's not just mentoring to get out of crisis. We're now seeing mentoring into being able to serve the population that they've come from, including one who is now the manager of our whole housing program, who used to be a participant in the housing program. So super excited to see like major life change happening within the lives of the youth that we're serving.
And as you give them a handout, not just handout, but and then they want to give back.
Yep.
And they go right back to, and who would be better than someone who's been there and understands
exactly
your clientele base, if you will, and can walk with them in that very special way.
Exactly.
So, I always say if I get 2 projects going, that's enough. But you got 4.
We've got. I mean, we're keeping busy, and it's just kind of reacting to opportunities and making sure that it aligns with our vision of where we're supposed to be. We turned down some opportunities that are not aligned with us because we want to make sure we're staying with the things we need to do, and it's all driven by what our youth need. And
they say once you have a vision, you're able to say no to excellent ministry opportunities. But
exactly,
it's not quite aligned, as you're saying. And we can't do it all, but we can do some. So
exactly.
We're doing a lot.
I mean, just last week there was an opportunity for some federal funds, significant amounts of dollars in the $600,000 range, that we may not be getting because we wouldn't broaden our age range beyond our core demographic of who we're serving. And those, it's tough. I mean, it's for a small organization like us, turning down $600,000 a year would be a pretty tough piece. But we're just not going to stray from our core vision, which is young people launching into adulthood, and that's important to us.
That's the value of the vision. It helps you focus, even when you could be wooed on, and then but you diffuse your efforts and then lose your identity a little bit.
Exactly.
So, and let's call LlamaRama the 5th project, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, LlamaRama is more of our. I mean, it's a project for sure, but it is our major fundraising event this year. So, so
it's an annual.
We're hoping to make it an annual event, and in the last couple of years with COVID, we haven't been able to do an in-person event, and so all of our fundraising has gone virtual, and that's hurt us. Our fundraising is certainly down as a result of that. And so we're excited to be back to an in-person event, but as we were talking about what did we want to do with that, we didn't want to do a gala, we didn't want to do like those. I know in the fall, like I'm probably invited to 3 galas a week, and it's boring, and then it's good. They raise a lot of money, but it's just not what we wanted to do. And so we were just kind of dreaming about fun family fall events. That's what I like to do in the fall. I love the apple orchards. I love the pumpkin patches. But we said, what could we do that's fall and a different kind of fall event? And so the LlamaRama is that. And so it's Saturday, October 8th at the Carver County Fairgrounds in Waconia. And there are going to be llamas there, which is the key feature. And so you can walk a llama. You can walk a llama through an obstacle course. You can. There'll be llama yoga. There's food.
I don't even ask what that is, but
right. You basically like lean against the llama while you're doing your yoga poses. And I'm kind of making that up. I don't exactly know what it is either. But it's like a kind of a full-fledged festival event. The Chaska Rotary has the wine tent. The food is going to be there. There's a maker's market, so there'll be like opportunities to shop and find some cool things. The Forge, which is a kind of a gaming shop out of Chaska, is going to be doing things with Pokemon and with Magic the Gathering, these card games, and Prince's DJ is going to be there to be doing events or music throughout the day. So it's just going to be this big fun festival all day, and all the proceeds from the event go to support Launch Ministry. Our board chair, Amanda Bloomgren, has just done yeoman's work at putting this thing together. It's been all on her, and it's been amazing to see it happen. But based on sponsorships and things that have already come in, the event is already in the green, and so any ticket sales that people buy or anything they spend there is all basically just a straight donation to Launch now at this point. So we still have room for sponsorships if there are people that are interested in that, and they can contact Launch if that's interesting. But mostly we would just love to see a packed house, and I'd love to have your folks come, bring their family. Sure. It's just going to be a really fun event.
That sounds like a vintage fall kind of wonderful Saturday afternoon event. That's wonderful.
So yeah, so we'll send on the info to your team, and hopefully you guys will be willing to distribute it to your parishioners.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that for you. And well, Corey, thank you for your work for the community, and particularly where there's needs, pressing needs, and responding in the name of the gospel, in the name of love, in the name of being there for those who are struggling a bit. That's what it's all about. No, this interview would not be complete, Howard, as we conclude here without a question from the magic orange hat.
This is the part I was nervous about.
I know, you should be, because you don't know what that question is.
Right? Oh, there's only one in there.
That's for a reason, yeah.
What's your favorite time of day, and why do you like it? So my wife and I just put together a little pergola thing in our front patio area. which we never had before. I'm kind of a big believer, like the front porches have gone away, and so everybody hides on their back decks, and you never see your neighbors and stuff. And so we decided at our house we're going to try to make the front the gathering place. So we're putting this new patio in, and we put in this new pergola, and we just got that about a week ago. And so my favorite time of day is now, like right after supper. We every night we are just going and sitting out there. We bring the dog out, and the neighbors walk by, and it's just become this little time to end the day well and see the neighbors, and so that's just been a really fun piece.
That's very consistent with your launch work. It's community, you know.
Exactly.
And pretty soon with the days getting shorter, it might be before dinner.
It might be before dinner. Last night was a little cool and wet as we were sitting out there.
Yeah. Corey, good having you.
Thank you.
So
Thanks
much.
for having me.
And everyone, thanks for tuning in. Again, the South Campus Show. Hope to see you next week. God bless. Take care.